It's not easy to reach the top. It's not easy to attain success. It requires huge amount of hard work, patience, skills to achieve something in life. It's all the more important to be on the same position, whatever we have attained or achieved. It's very difficult to be admired and appreciated by all when we attain success in life, especially in the competitive world of today. All that includes our friends, acquaintances, family, and all the more important, employees who are working for you. We today welcome one such personality who is an institution in himself. He is someone who tries to make 48 hours out of 24 hours of a day. Let's welcome him and try to know more about him. Friends, you are welcome to the Weaving Dreams talk show, wherein we invite personalities from different fields who have attained success in life. But again, what we learn, success that comes to their lives, it's not easy. Let me briefly introduce you about this big personality. Although this introduction is would be very brief, he is much more than that. Dr. Sandeep Marva. He is a well known international media person with 7 world records to his credit. He is the founder of Noida Film City and Marva Studios and Asian Academy of Film and Television, which is now one of the 10 best film schools of the world. He is associated with number of television programs, feature films, training films. There are so many things that I can tell about him. He's also the Chancellor of AAFT University of Media and Arts and has been appointed as a Chief Scout for India. Let's welcome him.
Yeah.
Dr. Sandeep Marva. Sir, you're welcome to this.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sir. The introduction I've tried to give about you is a very small one, but you are, there's so much more than that.
No, it's okay. I think it's enough.
So before we start, would you like to say something about you?
Well, it's a long story. I don't know where to start from. If you have questions, I would love to answer them
Sure.
one by one.
Sure.
But obviously, I'm a person of media and entertainment industry. From very beginning, I've been in arts and culture. I've always believed that love, peace, and unity can be created on this earth only through art and culture. I've been
Correct.
propagating probably from years together, and I'm happy that people have started now believing in statement, and this statement has become now universal. So it gives you immense pleasure that something what you have thought many years back is being accepted by the whole world. So there are a few very important things which I consider we started in a very, very small way, but they have become universal today. To start with, let's say 12th February, because when I went through the Charter of United Nations, I found there is no day marked for journalists, unfortunately, till that time. And suddenly it came to my mind that being a journalist is one of the oldest profession on earth. And then that time we decided to mark 12th February as an International Day of Journalism. And I'm happy that it has been very well accepted, and slowly and gradually the whole country and then the world has started celebrating 12th February as International Day of Journalism. Likewise, 27 years back, we started celebrating yoga. And the 21st June, we decided, because it's the longest day, and we've been celebrating Yoga Day, 21st June, from almost 27 years. And I'm happy that today the whole world is celebrating 21st June as Yoga Day. So likewise, 1st April, we decided to have Asian Unity Day. This is almost 12 years back. we decided to have one Asian Unity Day, because my all jobs, my all works, they all start with the name of Asian. And that's how I thought. The idea came into my mind almost 27 years back when I started Asian Academy of Film and Television. But then
Yeah, I
only
will be coming to that.
yeah, but
We'll be
around
coming to that.
17 years back, we decided to have an Asian Unity Day, and 12 years back, we declared it. And I'm happy that these things have started picking up. But the most important thing, somebody has to learn from these things, that nothing comes so easy. Everything takes years and years to mature. And if you're going to sow, मतलब आज अगर आप बीज बोएंगे तो 10 साल बाद जाकर पेड़ फल देता है. ये बात सीखनी बहुत जरूरी है, जो हमने अपने ही हालातों से सीखी.
Correct. Very correct. Very truly said. We all, admire the way you explain the things and you tell us the things, the way you inform us the things. We would like to tell our viewers that you are the one who is the founder of the Film City Noida.
Very
so
right.
Many people, thousands and lakhs of people have got employment there. They've learned so much from there. So how did this start? Film City Noida, how did this start? Before the Marva Studios came into it?
No. This is actually way back in 1986 when I saw the dream of having a film city in North India. I had traveled to Madras. I had traveled by that time to Mumbai, to Calcutta, and definitely to even Hollywood. But then I thought there has to be something like this in this part of the world. And when I started talking to my friends, to my people, my colleague, nobody actually paid heed to what I'm saying. They think everyone took it very casual. And then I thought, why not to start talking to government about this project? You never know. I went to MCD, NDMC, LNDO, DDA, Delhi administration. But then nobody paid. Nobody was so familiar with the business of cinema. Nobody could even dream of having a sitting like this. I mean, it was like come on, you're a foolish man, go away.
So, how is it possible in North India?
Yeah.
Said, how is it possible here?
People didn't bother to listen to me. And then one good day, I was standing at my brother's shop in Khan Market, and my brother introduced me to the chairman of Noida Authority, who was there at our shop. I met him and I just put him a word. I say, I have a wonderful project and I'm sure you're looking for a new project because you have so much of land. Can I propose you something? He says, yes, you are comfortably propose me anything. We are open for many things. And then I told him then and there that I have a dream of actually making a film city in this part of the country, especially in Noida, if you say so. Trust me, he immediately took that point and he says, why didn't you come to me tomorrow? And he was the first person who believed in me, listened to me, and invited me. Next day, I reached to his office and I expressed and explained my whole project to him. He says, "Baaton se kaam nahi chalega. Please put it back into the paper and submit as a complete project." It took me almost 2 days because everything was in my mind. I just had to put it on paper. And I prepared a project and handed over to the chairman, Noida. And trust me, no looking back. It took almost 1 year for that project because he submitted that project to Lucknow, to the capital of the state. And it took around about 1 year. And after 1 year, the board cleared that project for Noida. And suddenly, people started calling me founder of Noida Film City.
Great, very nice. And now there are so many other studios and so many people are working under that name. And then how did Marva Studios come into scenario after that?
Well, it was not easy to start a film city like this in 100 acres. And the government never wanted to give 100 acres to one single person. So it was 75 acres outdoor, which belongs to government, and 25 acres to be divided to different allottees. And there were no takers. People were not even ready to come to Noida. People thought Noida means no idea. And when you say it's a UP, people say, no, ulta pulta. यूपी जाना ही नहीं है. And Noida
तब
was
की
actually,
बात है पुरानी बात.
yes, I'm talking about 87.
More than a decade.
87, the project got its clearance, and I'm talking about the January, February, March 88. And then I had to literally push and pull people to come and start at least applying. Start applying at the center. Somehow, well, I brought in few people. Allotments were made from 6, and then 10, and then 12. Now we are 16 people, and I can say that it has taken around about 30 years. It's a 30 years long story, but today Noida Film City is the fastest growing film city in the world. There are 16 studios. Out of 16 studios, around about 350 channels are being broadcast to 162 countries 24/7. And there are about 17,000 media professionals who are working there in 3 shifts of 8 hours each. And the cascading effect is that probably 100,000 people, they are earning their bread because of this film city. So very happy that at least I could do something for my nation. We are now on the world map of cinema. The whole world, the whole media world, they know about this city. And I think it has added a lot to my credentials. Then obviously, I was one of the allottees, and it was very important for me to be the first one. Now people started calling me founder, and I thought it's very important to behave like a leader. And I made it a point that I must complete my studios within the specified time. We were given 3 years' time to build up the studios and to commence the production. And 10th March 1991, we started the studios, and then God has been very kind. No looking back.
Great, very nice. So now the whole of the place, as you were saying, is 100 acres, has been a lot of different people now, and they are also operating on their own studios, and they're working. And I've seen so many colleagues and all.
75 is with outdoor locations, and 25 is divided into 16 studios. It's like that.
Okay.
And now I can say that in a span of all these 29 years of running a studio, we have churned out something like 5,000 television programs for more than 50 channels. We are associated with something like 150 feature films in 8 to 9 different languages. My studio has churned out around about 5,000 training films. My production company has churned out around about 2,900 short films. And Marva Studio has been actually a maternity hospital for most of the channels in India. So the first private channel, Z, then of course Doordarshan, then Sahara, Mahua, Pragya, ETV, BTV, Star News, and so many of them. They are all born from Marva Studios. They started all their major projects from Marva Studios. And I'm happy that Marva Studio could serve a media and entertainment industry wholeheartedly.
Correct. So it was initially the Marva Studios, and later then you came to the education line also, because you have your own university and you've got institutions and providing education to scores of students in different fields. May it be management, may it be media, may it be law. So many different kind of courses are being run in your university.
Yeah. Now, see, what we did in 1988 allotments, 91 studio, and in 93, I got into education. I realized that all that paraphernalia which is coming up worth crores of rupees, it should not go waste. There has to be something within these walls. I mean, and walls are not going to produce programs. You need manpower. And that's how we started producing manpower, started training people. I started Asian Academy of Film and Television, which was the fourth film school in the country, but the first one in private sector. We started with 4 students, 40 seats, and I'm happy that in a span of 27 years, now we've become the first film university of the country and the first 10 best film schools of the world. We have churned out around about 19,000 media professionals hailing from all the 28 states, 9 union territories of India, and 145 countries of the world. We've designed something like 75, 80 different courses, and now there are about 12 different schools which are running under the brand of AAFT.
Correct. So it's been a long journey, but very fruitful as well. And I think everyone yearns to be a part of Marva Studios and your university and learn from there, because I've been to your studios many a times. You also organize Global Literary Festival every year, wherein you invite so many writers from different parts of the world. They come over and you promote them, you help them promote their books and share about their books. And thankfully, when I've got the chance twice to be there at your studio and sharing about my book. So what about that? How did you start with the Global Literary Festival?
No, see, I tell you, the Global Literary Festival is a 1/10 of the whole project. It all started with an organization called International Film and Television Club.
Okay.
And this organization we started because I wanted to have the industry interface, industry interaction with the students of Indian Academy of Film and Television. And we thought that it's important. This is my belief, and I've converted them into a reality. It's very important that students must have direct interaction with the industry so that they can grow much faster, bigger, and smarter. And then we got into workshops, seminars, symposium, interaction programs, some guest faculty, foreign faculty, some part of research, and things like that. But then what I did one good day, I consolidated everything under one organization, and we started around about 10 different international level festivals under this brand IFT. The first one was Global Film Festival. The second one was a Global Festival of Journalism, then Global Literary Festival, then Global Fashion Week. Then in between, we started AAFT Festival of Short Digital Films. AAFT, after that, we have ASMS Festival of Short Films. Then we have International Festival of Cell Phone Cinema. We have International Festival of Sufi Films and Sufi Festival. Then we have a Festival of Films on Disability, and so on. I mean, like, this is how we got into developing and promoting industry on one way, and developing and promoting students another way, and amalgamated on the grounds of Marva Studio. And we were very successful. Luckily, all the festivals are successful. All of them are international, and that's how we try to bring in best of the people like you to Marva Studios through this way or through that way. And now, obviously, when we started a film festival, we became the second biggest film festival of the country, the biggest in the North India. When we started a journalism festival, we became number one in the world. When we started a literary festival, we became almost the second biggest literary festival in the country. When we started Fashion Week, we are almost third or fourth biggest fashion week in the country. So my always idea is to reach to the top, because I have learned that seat at the top is always vacant. So you can always grow, work hard, and make your thing and take it to the top comfortably.
So just name a theme and you have a complete festival kind of a thing curated for that. It can be fashion or media, as you said, short films or feature films, or it can be literary festival. And you're totally correct, sir. I am a witness to these festivals of yours, and the way you train your students there. Each and every student is a perfect professional. We just do not feel, they don't make us feel that they are interns. They are true professionals in sense. The moment we enter the studio till we exit, those 3-4 hours journey of a day, I mean, that's complete. The way each and every, and I really, it's really amazing. Each and every thousands of guests come in during those 2-3 days of the festival, and being a host to thousands of people, each and every student each and every staff member working under your great leadership, they are just working to the best of their capacity. You are a great leader, definitely, because you are the role model for them. So they've
Thank
seen
you.
you
Thank you
working
very much.
hard.
Thank you. You've been very kind. But then, see, I'm a administrator, and my job is to see to it that everything should fall at the right place. Uh,
Yeah.
m- I'm a man from the forces. I've spent a lot of time in forces, which probably not many people know. And the word management has actually emerged from forces. That people should know that,
Mhm.
and that's
Correct.
how you have management courses, which is probably 20% what or 30% of what you learn in forces. That's what you learn in management, actually.
And the way
So I'm happy.
they treat every person, they treat every guest right from the gate, as I said. And one more thing, all the people who are working with you under your leadership, they become very loyal towards you. I've seen them working there for years and years. That's again a big thing, I believe, right?
Thank you very much. Point is that you have to take care of your people. That's very important. If you're not going to take care of your people, they will never take care of you. So it's very important to develop a very personal rapport. You have to be part and parcel of their happiness. You have to be part and parcel of their sorrows. You have to see to it that they are comfortable. They have a wonderful environment to work in. There is no pressure in the office. And you should love doing things rather than cribbing.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so when you
Exactly.
love your work, you add a lot of energy, you add a lot of spirituality into your work, and you're bound to be successful.
Yes, correct, correct. And you're also you've been appointed as a chief scout for India. You can share
Yes.
your journey about that. Yeah.
Well, see,
What exactly is the position? Yeah,
it's
because we've heard that this position is generally in various other countries. This position is for the vice president of any country. So how did
it,
it happen to you?
it can be a union minister, it can be a vice president, sometimes prime ministers and presidents. They also carry these kind of a position.
Okay.
It's an honorary position, and see, it all started with my little background because I was in scouts in my school, and I was the sergeant major, which is the highest probably designation in school. Then when I was in college, I was in NCC also in my school. Then when I was in college, I also joined NCC again. Once I passed out, then I was nominated as a special police officer. Then after
Okay.
that, then one good day I joined a paramilitary force like Delhi Home Guards, and I was appointed as a battalion commander, which is equal to let's say assistant commissioner of police. Then I was promoted to district commander, which is like a deputy commissioner of police rank. Have served this organization for almost 9 years for 1 rupee a year,
Mhm.
or
Acha.
actually not even
Okay.
1 rupee.
On the right.
And
Okay.
because see, I love uniform. I am very patriotic. I'm nationalist. I want to serve my nation one way or other way. And for 9 years, I was in uniform, and around 12,000 forces. They were right under me, and I was in charge for Delhi. It was a wonderful opportunity for me to serve the nation, especially the capital of the country. The worst and the best time we have seen in Delhi, including the riots during the death of Indira Gandhi, late Prime Minister, and I have won some medals. I was a nominee for President Award. There's a beautiful profile which I generated of mine through uniform. Now this is all on one side. Then, of course, then I realized that only serving probably may not serve the purpose, because then I have to be do some business. I have to earn my living, and I got into my business. I started my exports. I was first in real estate, then exports, and then got into my favorite business of art and culture. But then recently, only a year back, there was a designation which was recreated after 30 years. I mean, this designation was lying vacant for almost 30 years, because the
Okay.
last designation of Chief Scout for India was with Honorable Vice the Vice President of India, Mr. M. Hidayatullah, Dr. Hidayatullah. And it all started with Dr. Radhakrishan and I mean all the vice presidents of India. And then after 30 years, this designation has been bestowed upon me, probably because I have maybe a very strong profile or a biodata, because I've been a very nationalist and patriotic, and because I've been in services, because I am basically art and culture person. But then I'm happy and I'm so thankful to everyone of this country who all have supported me, blessed me, and given me best wishes on my appointment of a Chief Scout for India. This is a very large organization. We have something like 5 million scouts and guides in this country. I'm trying to make this organization a very productive and a very constructive. I'm sure in your school you must have joined Scouts and Guides. Same with me.
Correct.
And I could never dream that I'm going to be the chief of Scouts in India. And this is a very powerful organization and a very powerful designation. I would love to revive this beautiful organization and see to it, because my target in this particular organization is to see to it that from let's say from 50, 60 lakhs, it should rise to ultimate, that's a vision, to 30 crores. Because we have 31 crores students in this country, school and colleges. I mean, imagine we have something like 15 lakh schools. We have 40,000 colleges. We have 700 universities and 31 crore students. So my now job is that every student who's in a school or a college must be part of Scout or Guide one or other time.
Great, very nice. Yeah, because they in the early age only they should start knowing how to serve their family, how to serve their nation, and this is what they teach being a Scout or a Guide.
It's very important to build up a sense of nationality, of patriotism must be there. I mean, look at the Japanese people. You just can't even utter one wrong word in front of Japanese. They will stop talking to you. They'll stop dealing with you. They will turn the face. I mean, and we people as Indian keep on hearing all that which we should not listen to that. I mean, you should have guts to fight and talk to someone who's going to talk against your country. That's the kind of a feeling you need in this country. And see where this country is going to grow. We are 1/6 of the world. Imagine. And the whole world, and I must say that Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi is right, that time will come when the whole world is going to peep into the country, Republic of India, for everything. We're going to become a very, very strong nation of the world. Let this.
We are very hardworking here. Yeah, countrymen are really very hardworking. It's just that a lack of opportunities. Maybe it can be said they need to have, or they need to create an opportunity for themselves, a niche for themselves, so that they can reach it.
You have to work hard. The biggest problem today is that there are very few people who want to work hard. You have to have that kind of a attitude and aptitude, and that's what we have to build up in this nation, and that's what Prime Minister is doing. For all that first 5 years, he has evoked, he has created enthusiasm, he's created zest in the whole country. And that's what is needed, because you have to see to it that I am Indian and I have to work for India. You have to develop that kind of a feeling. यहाँ तो लोग कहते हैं कि छोड़ यार, रहन दे, कर लेंगे, छोड़, हो जाएगा, वो कर लेगा. You know, those excuses, those days are gone. You have to be very enthusiastic. You have to be.
It's a competitive world, definitely. It's a competitive world. We have to work hard to create some space for ourselves, definitely. No, people are saying so many goody things about you. You are at the top now, fine. But I'm really sure that this journey would not have been very easy as well. Because you earlier, long back, you shared with me about your experience at National School of Drama. You've been a student there.
No,
So
no, no,
how
no.
was that?
Never, 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 never. I have worked with the artists of National School of Drama. I've worked with the
Hmm.
people who've been a part of the National School of Drama repertory.
Okay.
I started my theater with my director, also from National School of Drama. But my first director, my theater director, was B.V. Karant.
Hmm.
Uh, and he later in his life joined as a director of National School of Drama. So it's like other way around. I am not from
Hmm.
NSD, but I worked with NSD. My first
Hmm.
director, my BV Karan, later he was a very well known theater artist, musician, and then later been appointed as the director of National School of Drama. So it's a beautiful, interesting journey in school, then in college, then in professional world. I've done around more than 100 shows on stage. Uh,
Hmm.
I worked with B.V. Karant, worked with Nadira Zahid, earlier, then later Nadira Babbar, then Rati
Okay.
Bartino, Meena Jacob, Umesh Luthra, and many, many more, many more. Pankaj Kapoor. I mean, we had a wonderful group of people from NSD, including Raj Babbar, Pankaj Kapoor, Neena Gupta, Vijay
Hmm.
Kashyap, Anupam Kher. We all were together and we've
Okay.
done few plays together. We enjoyed that time. And luckily, everyone is directly or indirectly in cinema now.
Correct. Now you're coming, we'll be coming to the education part. You're providing education to scores of students in your university, in your institutions. So what do you see the present trend of education? Where is it going? Are we going towards the positive side or there's something still lacking there?
Now, see, let's talk about anything and everything before COVID-19. Uh,
Hmm.
Everything is there are few. See, there is a transformation which was taking place, and the whole transformation has taken place during this 60-90 days, all these 70 days. Education has become now online. That one has to understand that for the time being, at least. Uh, I have always considered, let me give a very broad look. I have always considered that education in India is at par with education abroad. That people have to understand that. IITs, IMM, AAFT, these are some of the institutions which have brought the whole country's education to limelight at a international standard. People have to believe in the education system in India because it's a very personalized, it's very spiritual, it's very close knit. And if you look at these schools, I mean, like I am so thankful to my school, Sardar Patel Vidyalaya. I passed out in 1975. It's been 45 years I'm out of my school, but I cannot forget my school because my education, my training, my upliftment, my जो संस्कार है, my methods, traditions were all actually made. Generally, they're made in school or at home. So
Correct.
I give half the credit to my parents and half the credit I want to give to my school because this
That is the main thing that you are saying. But now at the present generation, they really fail to do this. Neither to the parents nor to the school, I believe. Like this is a big gap that has been created now.
ताली ना दो हाथ से बजती है. Unless and until student is eager and anxious to know, teacher will never be able to give his best. And if student is reluctant and easy-go-lucky, teacher will also behave in the same manner. Now, don't forget that fortunately or unfortunately, teachers have also changed. Now we have teachers of a new generation. I'm not talking about an 80-year-old man teaching in school or a college. I'm talking about a 40-year young boy. Probably
Hmm.
a teacher who was born when I was passing out my school. So so they are of modern thinking. They are also different in their culture, and they are also being brought up in a different manner. So we have to look for a mix and match of old and new every time if you want the education to be successful. It's very important to have oldies. It's very important to have young ones, so that the student should carry the culture from the old ones and a style from the young ones. And that judicial mix is going to make our student today a very appropriate and an expert student who can be compared with any international student. I mean, imagine I could attract students from 145 countries of the world, and
Correct.
every student went from here satisfied. And the best part is that they were shocked that how can a film school be so cheap, because I'm the most cost effective film school in the world. When you, I
Mhm.
mean, just all comparison, a 1 year course probably which costs, let's say, 2.5 lakh of rupees today is only 35 lakhs abroad, 30 to 35 lakhs abroad,
Okay. Okay.
more than 10 times. So and I am providing same kind of education at a 1/10 price, probably less than that. So student, they have to believe in the system first. They have to believe in the teacher. They have to believe in the institution, and they have to behave a serious student and see how education level is going to rise in this country.
Correct, and you're providing one of the best of the infrastructures that even I have witnessed. The best of education, the best of teachers you have with you who are working in your institutes.
When you are in education, you have to believe that you are building up a nation, and there cannot be one single percent chance which you can leave it unattended. So it's very important. I mean, imagine, even in 27 years in education, I am vigilant every day. It's not that I'm not bothered about it, or I have left everything to the directors. No, no, no. I'm vigilant. I'm a check myself. I see. I get into each and every school, every college, every part of co-curricular activities. I take a personal interest in developing different kind of curriculum and festivals and extracurricular activities. We have a wonderful, a very powerful board for every college discipline wise, and then a main board where we have brains from all over the world. And my job is to pick up the best ideas possible and deliver to my students at the most reasonable cost.
Correct, and you've traveled the globe and you've got such rich experience that you always keep on sharing with your faculty, with your students. Definitely, they keep on grasping so much of knowledge from you.
You're very right.
So
I mean, like, given an opportunity, I would love to fly tomorrow morning, and that's my hobby. That's my love. I love tourism, and that's how I started a school in hospitality and tourism. Also, I've been traveling at least one country every 2 months, and that gives you ample energy, ideas, exposure. You interact, you collaborate, you join hands with the different school and colleges or universities now, and then you exchange ideas. So much to do. Probably we are the only organization which has declared 196 one scholarship for one country for AAFT. No, no, even the richest institutions in America or in UK, they have not done like this. But, my poor institution has announced 196 international scholarships for 196 students all over the world, and probably 60 to 70 have already used these scholarships.
So, in fact, really big achievements, definitely for sure, and that you've attained in a very difficult manner. Because it's not easy to attain such things. Definitely, for sure, it's been must have been a very nice journey for you. And so, what do you advise to the students now as a
Well,
message for them?
see, it's a COVID-19 has changed the shape of education. A very sad state of affairs. The whole world is suffering. Social distancing is the key word today, which is going to stay for some more time. All institutions are worried about students. So do I. Now, after almost 60 days, we have ordered for sanitization of all buildings. Everything is going to be taken care of. We have already requested our faculty, administration to take over the charge slowly and gradually. We have cut down the staff into different segments because not all people are going to be there at the same time. So some of them, let's say 33% is going to be at one go, not more than that. And that's how we're going to start with a new system of, I mean, so far I'm very happy because all these 60 days, we have already almost done 6,500 classes, probably 5 seminars, around about 18 webinars, and around about 30 interviews. So things are absolutely working online day in, day out. My student is absolutely learning online right now. If they're not attending classes, it's going to be their big loss. But we are leaving no stone unturned to see to it that every bit of education which is connected to theory must be delivered by best of the people possible from all over the world. My faculty has been coming from UK, from USA, from all over India, and of course our own permanent faculty, which is taking care of each and every subject possible. Now, the only part left is the practical part, because my courses, which are running in all the colleges of the university, they carry a lot of practical part. And we have promised our students that when we're going to open colleges, we're going to give them ample practical. Rest assured, I'm very worried about my students, and I will not take a chance. I will never let them go into the industry without doing their practicals, because that's not only part of the assessment, but they are part of their profession, which is very important. And I'm very worried, I'm tense, and we have devised new ways and methods of giving them education. New buildings are under construction. Probably in a few months, we will be able to spread out the students in a much larger space. The classes will be small in size. The theory part, or we can always design alternate classes in the premises. Probably the theory part we can cover online, and the practical part we can invite students to come and enjoy the whole infrastructure at their disposal. I mean, as it is, we are one of the most cost-effective film school in the world. I think I'm working, I'm researching, and I'm looking into the devising new methods of passing on best of the education in the shortest period of time and in a small lessons. Luckily, we have our own studios, we have our own cameras, own equipment, multi-camera setups, we have our own radio station, we have our own television station, we have ample setup, hundreds of editing tables. So there's no dearth of equipment, no dearth of setup. Students can come and enjoy their practicals, even for hours together. I've promised them that even if you want to stay back till late evening, go ahead. Everything belongs to you. This is your institution, and I don't want even one single student to be weak in their education and training.
So the teaching learning process has not stopped, and it won't stop in future also. We really hope for that. You seem to have done complete homework for what you would be doing in future. Definitely, you're already doing it, and you are doing it. You're making notes for the future as well, what you are going to do in future.
Probably there may be some small changes which we might have to bring in, size of classrooms, and probably less people in the studios, small units to make a short film, which my students, they make at my expense. And then, these are, you have to keep all those things which are very important from medical point of view. Because I don't want my students to go sick. No, never. Health is wealth at the end of the day, no doubt about it. And we want our students to do well, and we want them to be successful. My institution has given largest number of celebrities to this country, and I'm happy about that.
Arjun Kapoor and various other people are a product of Marva Studios, I believe.
I have to sit on computer now to see the name.
Correct, correct. Because whenever we come to the studio, it's not a studio, it's not a normal studio, it's a big institution, a big campus, big infrastructure with various small other studios there. So hopefully we everything comes to the normal soon, and we witness and we come to visit your studios again, sir. And with that, though, thank you so much. One more thing I would like to tell my viewers that Dr. Sandeep Marwa is the brother-in-law of the celebrity Anil Kapoor. But
Oh,
but one more thing, that doesn't make Dr. Sandeep Marwa any smaller celebrity. We believe that you are much bigger celebrity than him, because we've seen you are a people's people. This is what we have witnessed. Every student of yours, every faculty of yours, I know most of them, and they always have such big words for you. And thank you so much for being here on the show and giving such good advice to all. Thank you so much.
thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. So that was Dr. Sandeep Marwa. I think we have to learn much from him. Whatever position he has earned in his life, it's not come easy. Definitely, as he said, we need to work hard in our lives. We need to be patient. We need to have perseverance just in case we need to attain something. Thank you so much for watching. So again, we'll be coming with a new personality. Keep watching, and just in case you have some thoughts, you have some perceptions, you have some points in your mind, do share with us. Thank you so much. Bye.